This is bad. This is very, very bad. This is like 10 alarms. This is like very high top of bad. Senator Rand Paul said he urged Musk to have the White House send Congress a package of proposed spending clawbacks known as rescissions. So basically his cuts, he wants it to be official, sending it to Congress. This makes it so that the same argument that was used by the Supreme Court in the TikTok ban, which is, well, Congress already passed it, so we're not going to do anything about it, is the result of any lawsuit against them. It provides a congressional stamp approval to any cuts and therefore is difficult to challenge. Other GOP senators described Musk as elated by the idea once he realized it could get through the Senate with a simple majority. I love what Elon is doing, but to make it real, to make it go beyond the moment of the day, he needs to come back in the form of a rescission package, Paul told reporters after the meeting. According to two GOP senators, Musk acknowledged that DOGE's spending cuts would only be temporary unless they were backed up by action in Congress. So he needs congressional approval so that it cannot be challenged anymore in courts. He said, yeah, unless Congress takes action on this, none of it is permanent. So that is the point of recession, Senator John Hawley of Missouri said. He said he urges Congress to take action, particularly after the court ruling today. In the words of Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, we need to capture this in the legislative process to make it real. We need to capture all the cuts, all the elimination of agencies and congressional action to make it real and permanent. It's time for the White House now to go on offense. We're losing altitude here. We started off good, we're losing altitude. We need to get back on the game, on offense. The way you do that, Graham added, is to take the work product and vote on it. So they're guaranteeing him that anything that he does will get Congress's stamp of approval. And it doesn't matter if Democrats are like, oh, don't do it. It's not going to matter because they already have the votes. They have the votes. All they have to do is send it to Congress. We are in an alert mode. And an alert mode because it took Yahtzee 53 days to get democracy to end. And it's taking us sooner, but also it's taking us having senators in Congress who are compromised and allowing for this to happen. What is this? A constitutional coup. This means that the branches of government are compromised to work against the Constitution, and they actually legitimize their work through the shortcomings of the Constitution, which we have a lot, in order to achieve that. And we have to do something, and what that is right now is for us to accept that our Constitution isn't perfect. Our Constitution is incomplete. Our Constitution is based on an honor code that people don't uphold, and there is no safeguards in order to position what to do when that isn't done. That is because of American exceptionalism, the belief that if we pretend like we are perfect, then we are perfect, that we cannot make mistakes, that we cannot do what other countries did because we are naturally just superior, and that's not true. That's not true because look at us. Like the Titanic, which was too big to fail, look at us. And it's happening through the compromise of our government. It's happening through the compromise of allowing for an unqualified POTUS to come into fruition. And that's not going to end until we don't just remove the main one, but we remove the whole administration, and we ban those who have upheld this in Congress from ever serving in government again. Now, I'm working on a constitutional proposal in order to recommend a constitutional convention. We're going to have to do that no matter what. We're going to have to blackmail the economy. That can be done in one of three ways. The easiest one is for blue state governments to defund the federal government and maybe put some sort of temporary independence away from the federal government until the GOP Congress is capable of actually working bipartisan with the other side of the government, or general strike, which is complicated because if you go to generalstrikeusa.com, not a lot of commitments. So in our reality, the other one is March 14, 2025. We have 12 million people either show up in DC or show up in total all across the United States and cities. Because at this point, they're going to cement everything that they want to do into law. That means that it is going to be difficult to challenge it if it is done through the official processes. Because what you forget is that the Holocaust, so the final solution, was legal because it was done through the processes required in order for it to have authority, right? And that's going to be the same thing with us. They're going to finally cement the success of this coup if we do not stop it. Okay? It's not gonna take calling the reps. It's not gonna take lawsuits. It's not gonna take the traditional means. It's not gonna take the military, because the military can only make a choice when they're forced into within martial law. All right? So it's gonna have to be us. How we do that, that's on us. However, we have to accept that this is a lost cause. The GOP will not change because they have enough threats against them in order to force their vote. So now reality, the only way we force their vote is to be that disruption, is to be that which forbids them from actually being capable of doing their work until they do the work for the people. And that is going to be what will solve this, because they're just cementing and circumventing the safeguards of checks and balances through congressional action, because they know they have the majority. In this reality, the elections in April for Florida, which I'm not going to hold my breath, but those are important. But ultimately, that itself isn't going to stop this. It has to be us. It has to be us, and I'm ringing the bell. I'm ringing the bell because this is really bad. This is really bad, and the traditional means won't stop it. Because legal formalism is that it does not go beyond the structures of what is legal and the rules and regulations. If the rules and regulations are changed to promote a certain narrative, then that becomes the truth. And if that becomes the truth, how do you challenge the truth when it is cemented in law? In our reality, we cannot use the rule of law or the courts in order to challenge that. And they're making sure that we can no longer do that. That is what this is. And you should be worried. You should be extremely worried. And not even calling the reps will help us on this one.